Hey everybody. Uh Seeing people maybe get in here soon. Um let's see. There we go. Just getting some of my stuff set up a little bit better. My stream manager still going through some kinks, figuring some stuff out for Twitch and doing live streaming. Uh so today, for the live stream, we will be going through and continuing the the story of migrating to Spring Boot, or not Spring Boot, to Java 16. Kind of looking at how to update code to better take advantage of records, and then a big part of it also we're going to do is trying to then do some performance testing and then analyzing those results using Java Flight Recorder. Java Flight Recorder is something I'm just kind of starting getting into. um, my background, I'm just kind of like a Java developer, obviously, but like not a whole lot of deep experience when it comes to doing performance testing. So it's gonna be kind of a bit new to me, but I am really interested in getting a little bit more involved in this area, but then also getting an idea as to the benefits of using records and like seeing how we can implement that within Spring Boot Petclinic. All right. Um, all right. Well, I think might go ahead. Just get started right now, and maybe people will pop in. Of course, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll be happy to try to answer them. So, yeah, I decided also to have um, as also an easy way to kind of do comparison, two versions now of Spring Boot Clinic. So Spring Boot Clinic 16, as the name would suggest, is the one that we're updating to 16, and then Spring Boot Petclinic is just the baseline of it. And actually, one of the first things I want to do is go in here and set the server dot port equal to 1616. That way, so by default, Spring uses port 8080. I'm going to set this to 1616. It seems pretty apt. That'll be for 16. And while we may be running this with 16 as well, it's still more or less just using anything with 8. So, 8080 then also kind of works out pretty well for this as well then. So, always seems to be the case as well that always have like a bunch of plans, what things I want to prepare for the subsequent live stream after the previous one, and then life always seems to get in the way, and not as many of those things I want to kind of get ready before the next one to happen. But hopefully we'll still be able to cover a good amount of ground here. Let's close that out. Just doing a little testing before. Hopefully the audio also should be a lot better than in previous streams. Yeah, the audio I was listening to from the previous stream, and it definitely was far from ideal. I think this should sound a lot better. Hopefully, if it isn't, if there is a lot of background noise, like from the fan or something, let me know in the chat. And there's some settings I can try working on to address that. But from the testing of this sounds a whole lot better than what I was doing all before. Yeah, I'm using a Yeti, my Yeti now, instead of just a lavalier or my headset, so should be a lot better audio quality. Oop. Yeah, I guess it's there. We go. All right. So migrating. Yeah. Let's get it. That's right. Just getting just a few things ready before this stream started, but always seem to run out of time a bit. All right, we're building all this now. Should be completed in a moment. Getting a few commands kind of set up here to the side that I'll be using while that is building. 8-16 and Java 16, yeah. Oops. All right, yeah, just getting some of these commands ready just so kind of have them ready to go for as needed. JInf shell. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Java version. All right, 1.8. So yeah, that's what I was hoping for. All right. Let's get this started here. Disk, yeah. Yeah, I want to get a baseline of what it looks like with software line. Used it a little bit of Java 16. Haven't actually used it back with 8. So looks like some of these commands aren't quite correct for 8. So let's get rid of, oops, that. Let's see if that finally can only be set with a duration or if on. All right. So yeah, we need to set add dump on exit true to this and that. All right. I just want to have these specific recordings just so as we're analyzing these in Java Mission Control, we can easily go back and forth and compare them easily. So making sure record little limit, that's fine. Perfect. All right, that should dump on exit. And awesome. Yeah, let me go ahead and try opening this then in Java Mission Control. Just to make sure it should all open. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it makes sense. Of course, you know, the newest version of Java Mission Control. I think this is 8, right? That's the current version. Yeah, 8.01. That's the most recent. And yeah, it should obviously be able to load in stuff from Java 8 as well. Yeah, we can see here things like memory usage for the different classes, you know, file IO, method profiling. We'll get some at least high level looks at this. But yeah, I'm actually really interested to see. So previous streams, I was just using top to kind of test some stuff out instead of using here Java flight recorder and Java mission control, which is obviously going to give much more detailed results than what we're going to see from top, which is just, you know, very high level memory and some CPU usage. So yeah, photo allocation. Wonder, does it, so yeah, 256, 448 for the memory usage, like looking at the peaks of it. So let's actually then give it a shot just to run 16 without any changes to this. So kind of like what we were doing last session. So jn cell, gonna set to the 16, and let's see. Let me just, all right, let's see what this does. So just what I'm doing is just running the exact same binary file, but running it with Java 16 instead of Java 8 as I did with the previous one, which again, that's something that you can actually do with Java, is run the exact same binaries on different runtimes, which can be very useful because a lot of organizations, when you rebuild something, rebuild it in a new version, there could be a lot of concerns about introducing errors and bugs, but you can maybe get around that by upgrading or just by being able to run it on a newer runtime without having to rebuild and then the applications. So that's a kind of nice feature to kind of reduce some of that pain from going from version to version. Though granted, if you're jumping many versions, so if you're going from 8 to 16 in this case, while it does work with Spring Boot Petclinic, chances are for most applications you will probably have to make some changes. But hopefully it's getting less, especially if you're actually actively following along all of the different, if you're upgrading with this keeping with a 6-month cadence, it should always be pretty easy to go from version to version, especially if it's an application that is being actively developed on. All right, so ran that. Now let's also open that up as well in Java Mission Control. So yeah, obviously the Java 8 recordings from the Java 8, Java 8-16. Pretty much what I'm saying, this is just the one that it's built with 8 and doesn't have any 16 features, but it's running on 16. So parallels, doing free physical memory. Parallel threads, so that's the same. GC pressure, heap size. Yeah, appropriately, a lot of this stuff is the same. Let's go a little bit deeper. Okay, yeah. So one of the things I definitely noticed from the previous stream, when previous streams when we were running the Petclinic, when we ran it on 8 and then we ran it on 16, the memory usage was just a lot lower than I was expecting. And that's still the case. We see here that like it's 448 with like an extra allocation of 256, whereas like this is just in bytes and this is 160. So it's a lot less than half, which is again much less than I was expecting. But it is nice to see that's pretty consistent, though it is a bit annoying that we're not getting any additional information here like we were with all the classes, to maybe be able to drill down a bit on what's causing a lot of the memory usage. So yeah, char string or char array, so that's just strings really there. That's what's taking up a lot of memory, which makes sense. That's the case for a lot of Java applications. Yeah, I wonder why. Java flat recorder, true settings profile. Let me run this again. I don't know why it should. Use. Yeah, this is just telling it to dump some stuff before like we actually even closed it. Let's try closing that, opening it again. Maybe it has more detailed information. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure. It's not giving me more detailed information like we're seeing with 8. We'll get back to that in a moment, though. Let's go ahead and look at 16. So, but this is consistent baseline. I think this is pretty similar to what it looked like the previous run. Let's continue the update story for 16. I'm using records, and maybe we'll also get to a performance test a little bit. Or actually, before we do that, let's do just a little bit of load. Let's kind of click around in here and do a few things. Add a visit. Please ignore. Veterinarians. Error. Add an owner. All right, just a little bit of load. Sure, there's probably actually a refresh in there. Just haven't done enough work with Java miscontrol to know. Oh, there's memory. Yeah, but not too much a difference in memory usage. After that bit of load, this looks like it went up a little bit, but not too much. All right. Let's continue. First, let's make sure that this actually memory server. Yeah, it's not loading. Let's see, will not be reattempted. Oh, yes, I know what the problem is. Yeah, that's not correct. Okay. Yeah, I was just renaming the name of it, so it's artifact ID, and I accidentally put 16 there where I sent it of. And of course that would not work then. All right, yeah, we got a compilation error. Okay, yeah, owner DTO. So like when we left off the last stream, around the time when my OBS exploded last time, we were working on the owner DTO, the owner controller. Yeah. Can just also use this as an example of what's going on here. New owner detail, put the owner in there. I wonder if that's even possible. Let's see, public static. See if we can put a factory method in here. All right. So that will be the 0 blank blank. We'll just put a new array list for this one. Why is that giving me a build error? Refers to the missing type pet, but it is in the same package. Oh, wait, no, it's still there. Pet. That is weird. Why is that not being recognized? But pretty much, so a little background is why I'm doing this is so with records, they're supposed to be transparent carriers of data. And so part of that is that every record, it's going to have a constructor that's going to match all the fields within that record. So that way it's a transparent carrier of data, unlike normal classes where you can just have a default no arg constructor. That's not accepted for records, which is this in the case. So I'm going to create this new owner factory, which I think should be fine as a way of initializing a new owner, just to make it a bit easier up here where we're going to use it. So, but just trying to figure out why that pet is not wanting to work with me. And it doesn't make much sense. It's probably something silly. Guess you can always just do a Maven update of this project. Maybe that is part of the problem. Ah, yeah, duh. Yeah, the internal class path classes weren't built, so that is what caused that problem to happen. Okay, so that's resolve the build errors. I'm guessing though that actually probably still won't work because I will need it. Okay, yeah, no, that did work because yeah, that is static, so I don't need an instance of owner detail to do that. That resolves that issue. All right, so if owner last name. Then let's see. So how best? Yeah, I guess technically we could still kind of do it this way. It's a little bit on the hacky side. I guess not too bad, where we could just do owner equals that new owner, which will effectively give us an owner with a blank last name. Oh, oh, yeah. There we go. Yeah, and that could work. So also, why there is no setter for owner, if you're just kind of getting into records or first learning about them, is because records are also shallowly immutable, which means that you can't change the reference to it once it's been set initially by the constructor of when the net record's initialized. Again, this is about making records transparent carriers of data that you can always understand their state. And that's how the shallow immutability works. Of course, when it's also shallowly immutable, in this case, we have a collection. And actually, in that normal owner class, it's a set. So I might actually update that to hash set here in a little bit. But all the same, if we were to add some new item, like you could still add or remove items from this array because it's still the same reference to that array. That's the same location in memory, but of course you could change that. So that's the shallow immutability kind of principle for the owner or for records. Owner controller. All right, so we resolved the build issues in here for now, at least. We'll probably have to return to that eventually. So update owner DTO. And so we're going to do, so also a lot of this controller here was before directly communicating with the repo, the repository, the owner repository. And now I'm adding a service layer in there that will convert the records into a more immutable owner type, or just into more immutable owner type, and any other kind of business behavior needed there as well. So save, valid. May need to get rid of that as well. Save. Change that to owner DT. Oh. So owner.set. So we're just going to kind of copy all this stuff out of record into the equivalent fields for owner. City. There we go. So we're not going to do set the ID because that's going to be set by the database. ID, last name. Yeah, this is where I'm going to need to actually probably change this. All right, let me update this owner object. I just have it as a super type of collection, but actually I'll need to have it set to be able to properly match that type. And we'll change that to has set. There we go. And we can save that then. Owner repo, find by last name, and yeah, that will turn a collection of owner. And if you didn't watch the last stream, the reason why this could be helpful, kind of doing all the seemingly work of changing these plain old Java objects to records, is there. I think there should be a performance. I believe there is a performance increase from using owners when doing this translation from your internal Java code into sending it to the front end, because owner DTO has record as its super type. Um, Frameworks and libraries like Jackson, which is what's being used by Spring Framework for doing a lot of its serialization, deserialization to JSON and stuff like that, instead of having to do reflection to unmarsal, marsal, serialize, and deserialize an owner object, it can actually reference the constructor, and then also it knows that the to do that unmarshaling, demarshaling, and that should be faster than doing the reflection. So we'll transform these from just normal plain old Java classes to record classes, and that should help communication from the back end to the front end to be a bit faster. Because as far as within Java code, just setting one object value to another with these setters is extremely fast. Even if it's a lot of typing, but that should also hopefully get better here over time as pattern matching becomes more and more implemented in Java. Actually converting all these values should become easier, should be able to be done with like a pattern matching setting. DTO equals new owner DTO, and owner get oh yeah, of course. Actually, owners DTO equals new write list. There we go. And this is where I want to do this. Get ID, get address. Let me copy this over just to make sure I'm matching everything up. Yeah, I guess this is probably one area where I really should switch to using IntelliJ, since it does give the names of the arguments that you're passing these into, which isn't the case. And actually, I already messed that up. City, which isn't the case with Spring Tool Suite, at least the version I'm using, unless like the newest version does in fact do that, or Eclipse, which is the underlying for Spring Tool Suite. And then it's, yeah, telephone. Oops. And get. Yeah, I guess that's what we'll do. Get pets. First name and get last name. So yeah, this it's obviously a lot of typing, but as far as processing is concerned, this would happen, lightning fast, because it's not it's very, very light work that the JVM's actually doing to kind of accomplish these tasks. We'll just return null for this for right now. And we'll give this a build and see if it actually works. And actually, I will. Usually I've been skipping the test, but this time I'll actually have them run, because did find out last week that the tests actually were doing a pretty good job of maybe potentially catching some issues. It is a lot of exceptions happening. You can't. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. I forgot to switch my screens. All this. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, now you should be able to see that. Thank you. Is the text big enough? Here. Also, let me go. Is that also? Here, we'll add it. Let me know if that text looks big enough. Yeah, I can't believe that. Sorry about that. Doing like also a little bit of a different setup for how I'm doing this. Usually I have OBS over here on the side, so it would have probably caught that a lot quicker. But thanks for pointing that out. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so got a whole lot of build errors. Failed to load application context. Java version. Let me make sure. Okay, yeah, I'm on 16. Yeah, just wanted to make sure I had everything set right there. Oh. Okay, maybe it's a. I thought that worked before. Um. we'll skip test real quick. Just in case. I don't know why it's giving me the unsupported version from Shikoku. So, because thought I ran through the test and they successfully ran before, but maybe I'm just imagining that. Okay, so that build succeeded. So let's go ahead and run this Java as jar target Spring Boot Petclinic. All right, so at least it did start up. And unfortunately, this wasn't displaying last time when I was maybe talking about it. But I'm going to have two versions running. So 8080, that's going to represent the JDK8 version, at least the JDK8 version. It may be running on Java 16, but I'm not going to be updating it. It's going to be kind of representing the to control, if you know, I kind of want to go by experimentation. And then Java 16, this is the one I'm going to be using to kind of update and make changes to it to see if stuff actually works. So yeah, we made changes to the owner controller. So let's see if some of this stuff actually works. Cool. Actually, it is working. That's awesome. So good. So far, so good. Okay. Since that is working, we can maybe get an idea now as to, let's actually turn on flight recorder for this and see if there is any noticeable difference in performance between this version and then also the one that hasn't been updated. Okay, so we can use this to dump some data. All right, let's just hopefully that will generate some meaningful data that we can compare. And then let's do the same. Oh, I did stop that. CD, live stream code projects, Spring Boot Petclinic. All right. Just gonna get this one then working as well. It's Java version. Okay. JDK16. All right. So yeah, this will be the control. This will be running on 8080. And so they're both running on Java 16, but this one hasn't had any updates made to it. So we can kind of compare and contrast to see difference in behavior. Maybe something I'll do eventually is actually also update this to make sure they're both using all the same libraries, as I did update it to using Spring Boot 2.51. So we'll see what happens there. But let me go on and just get some data dumped. Okay. Now we'll go back into flight recorder. Close those again. Open. Get the file we just dumped out. And then also we'll get the file from the application that we've been updating. Interesting, the memory is higher, which isn't maybe quite what we want to see, but is what it is right now. Let's just see memory for those. Yeah, more or less looks exactly the same. I'm not quite sure. I may need to do a couple different settings on some of this. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why some of these other things aren't being captured. If you have more experience with Flight Recorder than I do, definitely let me know if there's a different setting. This is the cheat sheet. 1 second, let me increase this. 1 second, just increasing the size so it's a bit more legible before I pull it over. All right. Yeah, so that's a cheat sheet I'm using. Settings, profile. I'm not sure. I'll maybe go check that to see. All right. It's always going to the official documentation helps. This is 14, but hopefully this will be enough. I wonder if maybe the answer is just doing less, actually. Let's close that. Simply remove that. Go ahead and dump that. All right. Hopefully we'll get more useful data. Unfortunately, not. Continue checking that out. But one thing I think I will check real quick. Yeah, this is the Java 16 one. And open this back up. Did notice that it was actually using a bit more memory, and I think I have an idea as to why. Just to double confirm that was the case. Method profiling. Oh, that's a bit. What? So yeah, there is. Looks like more memory usage. Yeah. All right. So I think I have an idea on what to do here. So, well, that would be dereferenced once it leaves this method. For a second, I was thinking that an issue could be is we're kind of doubling up, but actually those would be all the same references. So that isn't the issue, but at least it is working now. So that is an improvement. So CPU, heap, method profiling, allocation. Looks like a lot more exceptions are being thrown. That's the 8080. Let's once again generate some quote unquote load and see how that compares to the 16 version, the one that is actually starting to use some records now. Oh, yeah. Oops. Okay, there we go. Actually needed to have a new dump done. forgot to do that. And let's just open that again. So CPU usage gets about 75 for the peak in a couple of times. All right, so it does look like that is overall a bit lower. Oh. Okay, so that's total CPU. And it looks like it never even gets anywhere with 16, but yeah, that doesn't quite look like there should be. It should be a little bit more comparable than that. And it shouldn't be quite that dramatic of a difference. Let me create some more load again, and then do a. Yeah, that probably really is comparable in speed. All right, did a dump on the Java 16 one and the Java 8 and Java 16 one. Let's just do those a quick comparison again. Yeah, really, one of my hopes was over the last week was to get a bit familiar with Gatling, and then using that, I could, run a more proper load test, like, making sure, like, 50 concurrent users running between the two, and, to do a little bit more proper, but just didn't quite get a chance to do that, and I don't want to spend the entire time just kind of figure out Gatling during this live stream. Already spending time here doing that with JFR. Don't need to do with both. All right, so it is still pretty comparable overall. Yeah, there is a bit higher memory pressure on this one. I'm kind of wondering if that's coming from the copying of the found K6. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, also the load testing tool. I mean, it could be also an interesting topic as well. Though obviously this is much more centric to maybe what Java developers are interested in. I would definitely have to check out K6. Actually, let's take a look at that. K6IO. Yeah, I remember people having mentioned Gatling a few times, so I was going to think of giving that a shot. Download a lot. Yeah, I'll definitely want to check this out. Ultimately, it's just a means to ends, and also the easier it is. Write tests in JavaScript. Why? But it's a means to end. Just trying to demonstrate load, and then we can then also see some of the more advanced benefits of actually taking the time to not just run your Java applications on 16, but actually take time to update to use the new APIs. But yeah, that hopefully I'll actually have an opportunity to maybe dive a bit into that between now and our next live stream next Wednesday. so I can get a proper load test going. But at least so far, we're also seeing a bit of the work that you can maybe will need to do potentially to update to using records. So just to kind of get an idea of what that might look like. Um, and let's just go ahead and maybe get back to that a little bit for now. So also like right now, why we can't just use records through the entire stack of the application, and it's something maybe I could do a little bit more research on, is as I mentioned early on in the presentation or in the live stream, that records are salary immutable. And here we are using Spring Data, which is using JPA, and a lot of that, and Hibernate, and a lot of that depends upon actually having mutable objects. So I don't know if these been updated to use 16 yet. Maybe there is a way to do that, but that is probably one of the difficulties. Though it could be a case where there could be some areas for views and projections where maybe records could be used through the entire stack, because like this is read only. So like that could actually maybe be potentially actually be used throughout the entire stack, but that's something to maybe check on for a later one. But yeah, thanks Archon for recommending K6IO. I'll definitely give that a look, and I'll also be sure as I update this code, and I'll get into my GitHub repository. You know, there'll be also load tests there, or I'll have like the test scripts in there as well, so anybody can kind of run these tests to kind of compare the results as well. All right, find by ID and owner. Let's just go ahead and kind of continue looking some of these up. Get ID, owner.get address, owner.get city, owner.get telephone. Can look up here as well now to know which methods go where or which references go where. Owner get. Actually, let's make this even easier. And just select the lines. Okay. Yeah, I don't think you can. I just want to double check to make sure that's the case. Yeah, I did kind of look that up just because, again, like JPA kind of depends upon mutable objects. So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right that you can't use them. But I do wonder if some of that stuff has been updated, so where maybe here where it's read only, that it can maybe be used. I'm doubtful, but that could actually definitely be helpful, and that could also kind of further incentivize the idea of separating out like repositories to where you have like a projection for just doing display purposes, and then another one where you would actually be doing saving and updating. But I think you're right that you really can't at all. But I don't know, I thought I saw maybe someone mentioning that you could, but that could have just maybe been like a very limited test or something. Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that's definitely something. Yeah, if you do find that that can be done, that's something we can definitely get started on here in the live stream as well, because that would definitely be an area that would be pretty clearly an advantage from using records. All right, so owner service. Let me go ahead and get this last. Yeah, get that returned, And then finally for update owner DTO, owner. Let's actually, that's set. All right, yeah, there we go. And also why records, they don't follow the Java beans pattern. Like they don't do getters and setters, which again, that's a Java beans pattern. That's not really part of the Java specification. And also because they're immutable, so they wouldn't even have a setter. So they just do just the field name is the accessor for it. Set city, this name. Get pets. All right, so okay, yeah, I can't set ID. Cool, cool, cool. And owner repo is save. All right. So it's just updating. Yeah, probably not the best. I probably really should then be pulling this back out and resetting a new owner DTO. But just for right now, I won't do that. Because it really shouldn't have changed any of these values since the ID has already been set. It's not like we're necessarily creating a new owner type. And that's just returning void anyways. So, all right. Once again, oops. Yeah, owner 16. There we go. I don't need to do clean anymore. Don't know if you follow Andres. Oh man, Amory. Oh man, I'm sorry, Andres, if I'm mispronouncing your name, but yeah, he's very big about not running clean unnecessarily when you're doing Maven builds because you're just kind of adding processing time to it without really any need. So, in his honor, I won't do a clean on that Maven package. All right, let's run this again. Let's see if this is all. But yeah, who I'm. Yeah, but it doesn't take long before. Uh, yeah. Also things like running Maven verify, but yeah, it's a bit of a joke. Or you know, don't run Maven clean install, or run Maven verify instead. Yeah, he that's been one of his things he's been really talking about for a while now. So time for me to follow what he's or listening to his advice. All right, find owners. Let's add it. Okay. So that did cause an error to happen. What is it complaining about? Owner new. All right. So a lot of this is like sending live objects up to the front page of this, and obviously it did not like trying to use a record in that area. Where? Oh yeah, duh. Templates, owners, create or update owner form. Yeah, it's trying to do a new on this. Um, hmm. And yeah, again, this gets back to it's expecting probably a no method constructor, and obviously that's or a no arg constructor, default constructor, and that's obviously not something that exists within records. So let's see. So owner, add new. Hmm. Just commenting that out probably won't work. Um, so let's see. Um, oh wait, what? That's gonna confuse me. And owner control will open up from both of the different pet clinic applications I was working on. Let's close both of those and make sure I'm looking at the right one. It might be a case for at least this right now. Well, yeah, may not be able to use a record for this one, at least until I update that spell or how that works, but that might not be possible, unfortunately. Update owner. Where is that being used? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. Might need to do that for right now, at least. And that should then resolve those errors. Oh. Still got a compile error. Oh, yeah. Get ID, not get, just ID. Oh, that shouldn't be getting that many errors. Okay. Did you see anything, Archon, on using records for just read-only JPA command or tasks? Actually, that's also even something I can maybe do right now. Yeah, this is kind of where I got this from. Another person has been kind of following me, Reality and You. Hey, Nikolai. Yeah, okay, no problem. Was suggesting you using these as DTOs. Yeah, they can't be entities, but they're great for DTOs and projections. So yeah, that's kind of been what I have been following for that. But I just kind of wanted, because this was written back in 2020. I thought it was here somewhere, like mid 2020, when records are still in preview, and I didn't know if anything has been updated for that to where a records can maybe be used in read only. Yeah, that could be something. I'll ping him. Do you know him well, Nikolai? I don't know him personally, so he may be like, who's this guy? Here. Let's see what Vlad says about it. Domain model for using records. And the answer is no, and they will not. Okay, so yeah. Okay, yeah, that may be something, a good collaboration here at some point. Yeah. So, and when was this also? So yeah, that was also mid 2020. So almost exactly a year ago now, as it has. But of course, he says they will not, and that I do see that probably in the case where they'll never be, just because again JPA is based around the idea of a mutable objects, and that stands in stark contrast to what a record is. All right, let's just make sure I also resolved. Did I? I thought I deployed. That should have resolved that error because it's using owner now. All right, I guess we're doing clean package just to make sure it actually deleted the old one and is updating, because I thought that should have worked. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Never, never listen to Andres again. Okay. All right. He's back to being right, or at least not wrong. Maybe it's a case where owners honest TTO new edit. That is interesting. Why is it getting upset? Because it's definitely returning the owner that's using it now. Oh, okay. Okay, that's why. Okay, that was the reason why. So it was returning an owner record instead of the actual mutable plain old Java owner class or owner entity. All right. Run that again. That should resolve this build issue, though probably not in the best way. Okay, yeah, that works. But we can see um 16 Java City and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Even though it's just a string, so I don't think any other validations being happening. Of course, that leads to an issue, though. What is it complaining about? Owner details. Um, okay, let's look at its owner details. What is it trying to do? Why? What is its backing? And how does it change from list? Because list was working fine with the owner objects. First name, last name, or owner records, it should say. Sorry, I know I'm clicking my tongue. Yeah, I'll thanks Nikolai. I'll be sure to also then maybe we can talk about them a bit more. Maybe also make it sure a bit more prepared as well. But also, if he has more experience in this area, he can also give an idea of maybe some of the benefits of actually kind of going through and doing what I'm demonstrating here. Uh, to see if it's actually worth that the time and effort you can see even in this simple one. But awesome, thank you for doing that. First name, last name, address, city. So why? Is that not working? I wonder. So this is making a direct reference, whereas it's the implied object here. And I wonder if that is why that isn't working then. Each. Well, this complain a whole lot. I just take this out and then also I can type. ID. Okay, let's see if that resolves that issue. And that's not going to work. All right. Add owners. Java record. Java city. And doesn't matter. Ah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. All right. Still seeing another error. Okay, so it thinks that's null. Did I maybe... Was that what I was complaining about also last time? Okay, so that was also null. So that's probably actually the issue. It had nothing to do with that. What I was thinking, so owner control, it's just not returning what it was expecting. So let's save it. Well, let's debug this. Is it a case like the ID, it's not actually being saved? Oh. Get ID. Actually, this could be a good point where to actually go back and look at the old unupdated code to see what was it doing. Okay, so it was doing the same. Put interface repository. All right. Well, let's just run this maybe in debug mode. And see what's actually happening. I could probably actually just do this. Debug is a Spring Boot app. Oh, let me stop the other application. Forgot to do that. Let's try that again. I suspect the ID isn't being updated, and that's why it's not working, but I'm not sure. Mostly looked like I reverted all this, so I'm not quite sure why that isn't the case if it's not working. So yeah, ID is null, which of course makes sense because it has been saved to the database. Okay, so it is being updated. Maybe it was false, but I don't know if that's an issue. What's up with the proper verb? What's the proper verb to you? uh, Streaming, or are you asking if you can like be able to go back and look to my earlier in the recording? I will post the recording here at the end of this if that's kind of the question, or it'll be saved to my Twitch stream. And I'll also post it to my YouTube. Unfortunately, luckily Archon pointed it out, but I wasn't showing my code for about the first 10 to 15 minutes of the stream. Yeah, always a couple little hitting my head here or there. But obviously that got resolved. Okay, so owner's ID, it is getting that. Getting ID. Okay, and that makes sense. That's how it's getting to that 11. So why is that null? Oh, JFR. In this for this little test, I'm not. I did run that a little bit earlier, trying to compare the two. One of the issues I was hoping, and we can kind of see it a little bit here. I'm still pretty new to JFR. I'm kind of digging into it for some projects, um, and I'm not quite getting as detailed of information back from us as I like. Because what I'm looking to see, and I think I kind of said that maybe a little bit into my tweets, and maybe if you heard a bit earlier, is to compare the difference in performance from of updating some stuff to use record DTOs when sending information back to the front end versus just relying on plain old Java objects. Uh, but one of the things I need to do is develop a proper load test to do that, because I'm probably just not, maybe putting enough stress on the system to where maybe that difference become apparent. And also, I probably need to work a little bit more with JFR to kind of be able to dig down a little bit deeper, also to make sure if you can actually properly see some of that performance difference as well. That's because before I was only using top, what's doesn't obviously nearly give the detail that JFR can. And also, if you're not familiar with JFR is Java Flight Recorder, and it's a really lightweight way of profiling and getting detailed diagnostic information about your Java application. And it's light enough to where you can even be running it in production without it having a significant performance impact. Not that you necessarily would always want to be doing that, but it's enough to where you can have like a few instances out there in your production running, and you can then pull out some data and actually get like a real deep dive on information as to its performance, which could be very important if, for example, you're actually committed to doing this and making sure like, hey, is actually records worth it? Maybe take like a test application, pull out some JFR information from like real production usage and say like, okay, this makes sense, and we may then copy off that behavior into other applications. Because as you can see, it's not necessarily a non-trivial thing to do all this updating, but it could be worth it, particularly if you're maybe running at a very large scale, to take the time to do those updates. All right, for some reason I am getting null when it's returning, and I'm not quite sure why. For a sanity check, is this still running? Add owner, test. Test 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0, just to make sure. Yeah, that works, which makes sense. Yeah, why is that giving me an error? And I noticed the viewer count went up a little bit, so working on trying to use records as our DTO when presenting to the front end, and just running into an issue now with that clearly. Get mapping, post mapping. I'm not exactly sure why. Save, get ID, so it's 11, that's looking it up. So that should be being called here. So let's see. Yeah, that's all the values there. Auto on view. So yeah, it's definitely, yeah, pets is blank, but that should also be blank. Yeah, that's just what I'm doing now. I guess you probably see it's just a few moments behind. And it is returning all that, so makes that all the more confusing. Oh, No, that shouldn't matter. I mean, maybe for consistency, I should probably name this owner DTO, but that shouldn't really matter here. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, that still shouldn't matter unless let's run that again. Oh, okay. I think I know what it could be. I need to update this code, owner's list, owner details. Okay, I think this actually needs to be owner DTO because that's the name of the object within there. Yeah, I think that should resolve that issue. Actually, why am I doing this? We'll just debug this again. All right, started. That might actually, I actually probably need to first add the owner. All right, add it. Cool. Okay, never mind. I thought that was gonna resolve it. Let's see. File RD can, okay. It did new error, so that's good. Yeah, okay, that's what it is. So I just need to get these updated, and that then should resolve that issue. So what was happening is in the model and view object that was being set up, it's taking the name of the class. So of course this is owner DTO instead of owner, and that's how it's wiring that up. So that's what messed it up, is because I changed the name of the, or it's a different class name. So just need to update all those references. So owner DTO, yeah, owner DTO.pets. Just make sure all these are updated. And that should then resolve the issue. Also, just to confirm, there isn't too much noise in the background from like my laptop or anything. Like, I know that was a real issue my last couple of streams, but if it is, yeah, just let me know, or give me like a thumbs up if it is sounding like you just really generally hear my voice and maybe only mine are typing in the background. All right, let's stop this and let's just try one more time. But it should hopefully be resolved, or if nothing else, we should at least get a new error. As long as you're not getting the same error, you're at least making progress, right? Actually, no longer need that breakpoint. We'll keep that one for right now. Good. Yeah, so that was the issue. I just needed to update all those references. Let's see if we can also add a new pet. Duke. Let's see, what was it? 1997, right? No, 25th, 20. So it's 26th birthday, so yeah, 1995. And I know that's not quite right. It was May 21st. I don't know. Duke most looks like a lizard, maybe? Snake? Yeah, we'll go with lizard. Cool. So at least we can add that as well. See, I think, did I update pet DTO as well? I think I did that during the first stream. Or what was? Oh, vet. That's what I updated. Lizard man confirmed. All right. I want to check something out. So, Java 16, Java flight recorder. There we go. Java flight recorder. Settings default. Dump on exit true. Now, I'm trying to figure out why I'm not getting near as rich of information. So when I did a dump on Java 8 from earlier, so if you're just joining now, you probably didn't see that. But got much richer information from it, like much more detailed of where all the memory is being used, and that clearly isn't the case here. It's not giving me much information at all. So yeah, here maybe at the end of this stream, let's see if we can figure out what is going on there to get us more detailed information. It's two pre-configured. So we have default and profile. Here. Yeah, let's also do a dump on exits. So, up. Whew, okay, why? Get that updated. All right. But yeah, getting more detailed information will definitely be important towards just making sure when we do a performance test, we can actually drill down the comparative performance between something, an application that's using records and one that isn't using records, to see if it's like something that you really want to take the time investment to do. Let's do profile on this one. And yeah. Yeah, so it says profile gives, yeah, I mean, as its name sounds, profile is actually for when you want to get a real deeper understanding as to the performance of an application, which is exactly what we want to do here. So the biggest page we really have done is owners so far. So this is where we're going to maybe really be able to see a difference. Okay. We'll once again stop it. The default name is just recording.jfr. So we'll just open that one up then. And we'll see if there's a bit more detailed information. No. Okay, so let's dig in a little bit more. That's not the page I want to be on. Wonder if we can just change this to 16 just to make sure. Cool. That was on Java 14. I don't think there's been too many changes between the two, but all the same, want to make sure always use the most recent and correct information. Um, let's just see for yeah. Just trying to figure out why we're not getting as detailed information. Like I said, between Java 8, which again gives us really detailed information, and not quite as much here with Java 16, which I'm sure it's just not doing something quite correctly. So that was just with Java 8. Unlock this true. Filing recording, settings profile. Okay. Okay, so that yeah, live. Interesting. Let's just say JFR. Okay, memory profiling. Okay, let's see, verbose GC. That is Java 8 though. Yeah, it's been I'm still pretty new to JFR. I haven't done J console. Like I think I remember using it like once or twice years ago. So, uh, don't want. So yeah, not gonna maybe touch on that today at least, but maybe in a future live stream might take a look at that. Uh, okay, yeah, that's right. Let's see. Let's see if that does something more. Luckily, I think it doesn't look like OBS is exploding this time, which is nice. Hopefully, I didn't just jinx that by saying that, but I think by this time for the last stream, it was already uh, starting to go nuts. All right, let's see if that gave more detailed information. Um, we will see here in a second. No, dang. Unless that's just something that's different between the two, but I don't know. I don't think that would have happened. And I think I'm clicking my tongue a few times during this. I'll trying to stop doing that because I'm sure that probably isn't a pleasant sound when listening. So I do apologize for that. Let's see what this has to say. Yeah, I may need to dig a bit more into this outside the context of a live stream to really kind of get a good idea on this. So, only have a few minutes left, so I think anybody have any kind of questions or anybody have any ideas for what they want to do or anything you would like me to check out for the next stream? I said planning on generally continuing this. Archon earlier in the stream suggested using K6IO for doing load testing, so I might do that, give that a look. Or I was also thinking of looking at Gatling. So one of those two, I'll make sure to devote some time to doing that, and we can actually get a performance test, and then also dig down to see, making sure getting more detailed information out of JFR, so we can actually hopefully see some real differences between what you might see from using records versus not using records, or if there is any. I believe there is, though. So that would be a pretty interesting thing to see. But yeah, let me know if there's anything else you maybe want me to try and kind of look at in this general area. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, thank you again for anyone who joined this live stream. Again, making some steady updates and improvements to this over time. Hopefully I can get a little bit faster with some of these improvements to make it a bit more enjoyable, or hopefully it is already enjoyable, but if not, it's still, I'm sure it could be smoother and a little bit better. But I guess everything seems fine. I'll go ahead and sign off. And again, thanks for everyone joining. And until next time, have a good one.